It's Eliot Wolf hours in New England. It feels like our new de facto GM likes to make signings late at night. This one coming in the form of Austin Hooper, a tight end to add to this Alex Van Pelt-led offense. And this honestly should come as no surprise to you because we have talked in depth about the Patriots likely adding a lot of free agents that have similar backgrounds to the new offense the New England Patriots are going to run schematically, or have had experience with Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, in the past. Austin Hooper spent 2 years with Van Pelt in Cleveland, and he is now going to be the backup tight end to Hunter Henry on this Patriots offense. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because I'm going to update you on the latest surrounding the New England Patriots in free agency, in the draft, everything surrounding New England. I'll have you covered. And tomorrow is going to be a big day with Calvin Ridley, who we'll talk about at the end of today's video, so make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a thing. All right, let's get to Austin Hooper now and what he could bring to this Patriots offense. But first, before we do that, let's let you know what the contract actually is. It is just a one-year deal worth up to $4.25 million, according to Ian Rappaport. That is tight end 2 money. That's what we expected a tight end 2 to get. We saw Mike Gesicki sign with the Cincinnati Bengals earlier today. We knew that he was likely not going to return to Foxborough. One, because I didn't really think him and Hunter Henry fit that well together last season. He was not that productive, and I think it was a better idea to go in a different direction for that backup tight end role, which Eliot Wolf ended up doing with Austin Hooper. He was not that productive for the Las Vegas Raiders last season, only having about 25 catches for 234 yards. Now, ironically enough, he did catch a lot of his targets. He had an 80.6% catch rate when he was targeted by the Raiders QBs. But, well, their QB play wasn't so good. It's not going to be a signing where it's going to make big signing waves, right? Austin Hooper, he had good days when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, actually making a Pro Bowl twice, believe it or not, when he put up 660 yards and 787 yards. Those two were his highest seasons in Atlanta. But listen, he's just not going to make a lot of noise. He's just going to come in and do some right things. And we know that Alex Van Pelt is going to like to run some 2 tight end sets. That's how his scheme fitted out in Cleveland. But he also likes to use extra offensive linemen a lot of the times as well. So that's maybe where that Chukwuma Okorafor signing could come in, where even if he's that 6th offensive lineman for this Patriots team, he could still see some run in some jumbo packages. But the 2 years that Austin Hooper did spend in Cleveland, 2020 and 2021, he had 46 catches for 435 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2020, and followed it up with 38 catches, 345 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 2021 before going to Tennessee in 22 and Las Vegas in 23. So I don't want to let you guys know and get your hopes up that this is going to be some otherworldly signing that makes a massive impact for the Patriots. No, it's just a simple tight end too. And the thing that I'm going to be intrigued on is if the Patriots add another tight end to this depth chart. So right now it's Hunter Henry, who New England re-signed just before free agency, and now Austin Hooper joins him as that tight end too. Like I said, nothing crazy, but that's what it's going to be. And then we'll see if Pharaoh Brown returns to the Patriots. I would love to bring Pharaoh Brown back. I think everyone should. He was one of the highest graded tight ends from PFF side of things last season, if you could believe that. Yeah, he was. He was fantastic in the blocking department, but he also had some chunk plays. He'd come in and have like 20-yard catches out of nowhere. I remember, I'm forgetting which game it is, and it's pissing me off that I can't remember which one, but he had a game where he had like 2 catches for like 42 yards. Like, he just came in and got 20-yard catches like it was nothing, and they used him out of the shotgun or jumbo play action, go deep, catch you by surprise almost. So I'd like to bring Pharaoh Brown back as that 3rd tight end for New England, but I like what the Patriots have done so far. And you just see it with guys that Alex Van Pelt has familiarity with. Austin Hooper and Jacoby Brissett both played in Cleveland when Van Pelt was offensive coordinator. If you didn't know, from 2020 to 23, 4 seasons. Brissett was there in 22. Hooper being there in 2020 and 21. So 2 guys that have experience in this Browns offense and the offense that New England is going to run coming to Foxborough to join this Patriots organization. Before we get to the Calvin Ridley portion of today's show, make sure you stick around for that. Great the signing for me of Austin Hooper, A, B, C, D, or F. Listen, it's not all rainbows and sunshine when it comes to every single signing. I feel like I've given a pretty good grade for every single signing New England's made so far. But you also have to take into account like what the position actually is, right? Like you can grade it a B plus not because it is a B plus player. You can grade it as a B plus because it's for the tight end 2 position. I'm not going to give it a B plus. I'll give it a B minus. It just made sense to me. He was actually highlighted in our free agent target video on Saturday. That's now, I believe, 3 players that New England signed that we talked about on Saturday, which is why you subscribe, because we know ball. We know what we're talking about around the New England Patriots. We talked about Jacoby Brissett as a top target at that quarterback position to be a bridge. We talked about Antonio Gibson as a really good pass-catching back that New England could target to have alongside Ramondre Stevenson. That happened, and now we have Austin Hooper, who is one of 4 tight ends we talked about that could be the tight end to Hunter Henry in New England. The 4 guys we did mention was Gerald Everett, who obviously was signed with the Bears the other day. We talked about Austin Hooper, we talked about Pharaoh Brown, and we talked about Logan Thomas, but we absolutely nailed the Austin Hooper signing. All right, let's get into Calvin Ridley, as a lot of you guys are probably intrigued to see where we stand on that. Well, going into Tuesday night, where we stand, well, things don't look too good for New England, if we're going to be quite blunt here. Call a spade a spade. Calvin Ridley doesn't want to play for the Patriots. Now, maybe this changes, and maybe me stating that he doesn't want to play for the Patriots is a little aggressive. But based on what I'm seeing, based on what I'm reading, I don't think that he wants to leave Jacksonville. Listen, we talked about it on the Josh Uche re-signing earlier today, that he grew up in Fort Lauderdale. That's where he's from. He went to Alabama, went to Atlanta, then went to Jacksonville. Like, that's his entire career. So he has been used to playing in southeast and southern temperatures. Not to say Jacksonville never plays up north in cold weather. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think Calvin Ridley does want to stay in the south and wants to stay in this warm weather and doesn't want to move to the northeast to play in Foxborough. I think that is actually true. So if the Patriots want to pry Calvin Ridley away from the Jaguars, I think you'd have to give him a lot more money than what Jacksonville's offering. I believe the current offer for the Patriots is way higher than the Jags. When I say way, I say about maybe $2 million to $3 million average annually. We'll see if that's the case or not. But the latest reports are that the Patriots have a multi-year offer on the table to Calvin Ridley. They offered it to him, and they're waiting to hear back. The reason why they're still waiting to hear back, and this isn't a done deal, is because he does want to go back to Jacksonville. That's just how I feel. I honestly think the Patriots should rescind their offer and just say F you to Calvin Ridley. Now, hopefully, this doesn't get Clipford takes exposed when he signs here. Optimistic thinking, maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing, and this is the nuance of this deal, right? When the Jaguars traded for Calvin Ridley last offseason, it was a conditional pick. One of the conditions was that if the Jaguars re-sign or extend Calvin Ridley without him ever leaving the team, the pick that Jacksonville sends Atlanta in the 2024 NFL Draft is a second-round pick. So if Calvin Ridley re-signed with the Jaguars tonight, or before the new league year opens at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, the Jaguars have to give their second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. So if Calvin Ridley and the Jaguars are dead set on getting a deal done and keeping him in Jacksonville, that would not be announced until after the new year starts at 4 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. So the Jaguars do not have to give the Falcons a second-round pick, and it instead stays a third-round pick, which is why I think the Patriots' deadline for getting a deal done with Calvin Ridley should have been tonight. That's just how I feel. I don't know how Eliot Wolf and the Patriots front office is operating, but if I was New England, if I truly wanted Calvin Ridley, which it seems like it was their number one free agent target, and they are doing everything that they are in their power to do to sign him without overspending, I would have made my deadline tonight and told them, if you don't sign by this time, we are rescinding our offer. Because it gives him a deadline where he has to make a choice if he's going to take less money in Jacksonville or come to New England and take more money to be our wide receiver one. Because no matter if the Jags do re-sign Ridley or the Patriots get him, don't get it twisted. The Patriots offered him more money. Don't get it twisted. That is an absolute fact. I can tell you that happened right now. It's just a matter of if Ridley wants to leave the southern Jacksonville, Florida weather to come to New England. I don't think he does, and I truly do believe that at 4:05 Eastern time tomorrow, we're going to get a notification that Calvin Ridley is staying in Jacksonville. So the problem is that where does New England go from here for their wide receiver one option? I think it's going to be a combination of the draft and maybe potentially calling for trades. We talked about Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins. I'd have Ayuk as my number one target if he ever was somehow leaving San Francisco via trade. Ayuk's the number one guy because he's the best wide receiver out of those three trade guys I just mentioned, and he's the equally most youngest. I think just 1 year younger than T. Higgins, maybe in the same draft class. I'm misremembering, but he's the best route runner, best hands. I think Ayuk's the best wide receiver. I'd put T. Higgins 2. I'd trade 34 for him, absolutely, and then extend him for $20+ million. I think Cincinnati would take 34 because they're looking to reload, and they have a lot of positions that they actually need to fill. They do. They have a lot of issues on that defense, and they have a lot of issues on that offense, especially if they can't re-sign T. Higgins. So they get more bullets in the chamber with 34. I think it's worth it because even though you'd have to pay him $20+ million a year, without a doubt on an extension, he is a proven commodity that's either a very, very high-end wide receiver 2 or a very, very low-end wide receiver 1, but he's also a young wide receiver that can ascend to a top-tier wide receiver 1 if given the opportunity. He's a big-body wide receiver. I'd trade 34 for T. Higgins, absolutely. Mike Williams is intriguing because he has the talent and ability to be a wide receiver 1 with his route running and deep threat and contested catch ability. The question is, can he stay on the football field? He's one of the most injury-prone players, not just wide receivers, in the entire National Football League, and he's carrying a $20 million cap hit already. So if you're trading for Mike Williams, you likely only have to send him a 5th because the Chargers are going to get rid of him anyway to become cap compliant. Might end up being cut before the 4 p.m. Eastern time deadline where you have to be under the cap tomorrow because you have to be ready to go and not over the cap going into the new league year. So maybe we see a lot of movement on that front on Mike Williams tomorrow. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And that's why you subscribe to the channel, because we're going to update you on the latest surrounding the New England Patriots. That wide receiver 1 hunt is on. We'll see what happens with Calvin Ridley. We will 1,000% have a resolution on Calvin Ridley tomorrow. You can book that and take it to the bank. He is either signing with the Patriots on Wednesday during the day, or he is re-signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars after the 4 p.m. Eastern Time New Year League starting. My money would be 90% on him going back to Jacksonville, 10% to New England. But hey, it's free agency. Who knows what's going to happen, which is why you subscribe, because we'll keep you updated. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.